Hello, I hope you've had a good week. I'm going to chat through a couple of things with you today. We're going to focus on a verse in Psalm 46, and that's part of verse 10. Be still and know that I am God. Now, you may have heard that verse maybe hundreds of times and read it printed on multiple things, or you might be hearing that for the first time. And I just want to kick off by looking at how we would understand that verse as English speakers, because be still in English is actually a bit different from what be still is in Hebrew, which is just translated from. So the English definition, sort of still, and our thoughts on being still is literally about stillness, physical stillness, motionless, being silent, being quiet. And with this, thinking of that with that English speaking understanding, so thinking of this silence and not moving and know that I'm God. So kind of doing that to connect with God. Now, I grew up in a church where quiet times were very highly promoted, and I guess a lot of my understanding at one point was that connecting with God was in church services, singing during worship, and then praying and quiet times. And there was a strong encouragement to have these early morning quiet times. I get up early and have this time of being sort of quiet and moving, focusing on God. And that can work really well for some people. It's so natural for some people, and for others it's difficult, but it's something they've really pushed into and developed and been able to benefit a lot from. And for some others, it's been a really big struggle because we are diverse humans. We have diversity in our brains as well as our bodies. And so for some people, it's actually very difficult. And the thing is, there isn't a right or wrong way, really, to connect with God. God connects with us wherever we're at, whoever we are. And God's very accessible in lots of, different ways wherever you are. You don't have to be in a specific place or doing things a certain way to sort of make the magic happen as such. But if you've been in an environment where you've sort of been encouraged to see it like that, and looking back, I can see that's what I was certainly in that at one point. I just want to encourage you that it doesn't have to be a sort of specific, sort of narrow definition of how, this is how you do it, full stop. There's so many different ways, and that's really exciting. And I would like to encourage you to explore different ways that you can connect with God. I think it might be quite good to pause the video now and either just think through that, think about ways that you connect with God, maybe even think about ways that you might want to explore, new ways you haven't tried yet. And if you're in a group, obviously discuss those things. But yes, I just wanted to focus on that bit as how would you understand it as English speakers, but also the sort of connotations that it can sometimes have for us and how it can be helpful for some but unhelpful for others. So now let's shift to what the be still means in Hebrew, which this is translated from. So the Hebrew word translated as be still, it has a mixture of meanings, including a sort of stop, relax, to cease. I've seen one translation like this, cease striving for this part, desist. And it also has suggestions of releasing, dropping, or sinking, to let go. So that is quite different from how we understand be still in English. And I think it's really important for us to explore that. I'd like you to pause the video and just have a think about what you think that means and what do you think that looks like, and to discuss that with each other if you're looking at this in a group. Um, and then I'll carry on and let you know what my sort of taking is from this. So for me, exploring that kind of feel like it's, if you think about this whole stillness, but almost like peace, almost like an inner peace, because you're trusting God, you're remembering who God is, you're knowing who God is, and trusting and relying on. And it's almost like an inner peace or inner stillness, maybe you could say. At a recent together, one of the children had been creating artwork during the service, and at the end shared it, and they shared this picture of the world with God's big hands holding it. And it really struck me because at the beginning of that morning, I'd spoken to someone about how remembering that we're in God's hands, even though it doesn't feel like it sometimes. And in the weeks prior, there'd been this almost reoccurring theme of this, as in God has got us. We're in God's hands. If you appreciate the visual imagery, that I think is a really helpful way to think of it. I think even when it doesn't feel like it, even when situations are really hard and we're thinking, what is going on? God has got us. We know that nothing can ever separate us from God and God's love. And this verse, it really makes me think about that image, and it makes me think about that and having this peace, this deep, almost stillness in me, this reassurance, maybe might be a word I could use to describe it, and being able to let go and to stop striving and to relax and to release because I'm relying on God. So yeah, that's my sort of takeaway from it. I encourage you to read through the rest of Psalm 46, whether you're on your own or together in a group, and you can go through that in a lot more detail and obviously see that verse in and amongst the other verses, and to explore and think about the things that have been raised today in terms of, being still in the Hebrew context, but also thinking about ways we connect with God and exploring different ways and being open to that. I hope you have a great week. Take care, everyone. Bye.